The Great Arrival is a name that was used to describe Italian immigration to the United States. This was one of the most impactful groups of newcomers in American history, with over 4 million immigrants that changed the way our country came to be. From Frank Sinatra to pizza, their effect was immense and is still extremely prominent in everyday America. The first major wave of Italian immigrants came to America in the late 1800s, numbering around 900,000. Then in 1908, southern Italy was decimated by one of Europe's most powerful earthquakes with an epicenter right under the Strait of Messina. The earthquake was in the perfect location to cause a massive tsunami. This double catastrophe contributed to over 3 million more immigrants coming to the U.S. by 1920. After the natural disasters, soil quality was poor, and with most Italian peasants being poor farmers, this meant no land, no food, and no source of income to feed their families. Disease and malnutrition in Italy led to dire poverty. These Italians were desperate for work and money and came to the United States in search of just that. The majority of these poor immigrants came to America with the idea of finding work, sending money back for their families, and moving back home to Italy. Knowing these immigrants needed money, American workers usually gave them heavy labor jobs including tunnel digging, railroad track layers, and bridge, road, and skyscraper construction.
Italians faced many conflicts when migrating to America, like keeping up with American culture and the way their system worked. Many of them forced to work low-paying jobs and suffered through poverty. Communication was also very hard because of their lack of knowledge in the English language. Italians did a lot of construction work, like building bridges and buildings. They were also forced to work low-paying jobs. Some Italians got into organized crime because of their financial opportunity. The construction work created an economic foothold in American society. Italians settled in major cities in the northern United States, like Philadelphia, New York, Boston, and New Jersey. Of course, over time they started to spread out among the U.S., but the highest number of Italians are mainly in the north area of the United States. Most of them actually still live in those areas. Food was a big part of Italians' impact on America. Their culture brought over foods like pasta, Italian bread, lasagna, and mainly pizza. They also brought paintings over, where some became really famous in America, like the Mona Lisa and many other different forms of artwork. American society took the time to learn the Italian language, and American schools started to teach it to younger students.
The second wave of Italian immigrants to the Americas occurred during the beginning of World War II and lasted till about mid-1970s. The homes were bombed, work destroyed, and families were gone. They were unprotected by the government, and with nowhere else to go, who could they run to? The Americas. Benito Mussolini became the first fascist leader of Italy in 1922. Fascism is the political belief that the nation comes before the people and is often ruled by a dictator. Many refer to him as the master of Italy as he controlled all forms of government propaganda. With no freedom, Italians fled to the States. Adolf Hitler founded the Nazi Germany organization and caused one of the biggest genocides in history against the Jews. Italians were also left defenseless against the British because of Hitler's conflicting friendship with Mussolini. As they were already under pressure from Mussolini's dictatorship, they could not sit around and wait to be saved. They needed to flee. After settling down in the Americas, the Italians faced huge amounts of discrimination. As Italy once sided against the states, those who were settled had their citizenship questioned, and with mob culture on the rise, tensions did not break. They often faced physical retaliation, as well as harassment from the American citizens and the police.
Italian immigrants' biggest arrival location was through Ellis Island, which was dangerous and hard to get through. Because of this, most of them settled in the New York and New Jersey area. In New York, they settled in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Lower Manhattan. Italian immigrants had various jobs to try to make income. Women and children did piecework, which is work that paid them by piece. For example, assembling machinery and sewing. Southern Italian immigrants had experience farming and only had the skills for dangerous urban labor jobs.
What is your name? Come on, son. What is your name?
Tuo nome?
Vito Andolini from Corleone.
Vito Corleone.
The mafia, also known as the mob, is an organized crime group. Full members have to be of full Sicilian descent. Other members are considered associates. They have had many rivals, including the Irish mob. The mafia was often dramatized by the popularity of movies based on their crimes.
Pictured here on this slide are some faces that you're bound to recognize. We have actors, singers, and doctors who have influenced American culture. Dr. Fauci, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Pacino, Frank Sinatra, Danny DeVito. And Ettore Hector Boiardi is actually the founder of the Chef Boyardee franchise. Everyone knows the influence that the Renaissance had on art and culture. When Italians immigrated to America, they brought over some of that influence. 3 pieces pictured here on this slide were displayed from 1936 to 1937 at the Carnegie International Exhibit of Paintings in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Italian Americans did not just bring over art and culture insight. They brought something that's very important to me, and I'm sure many of you in this classroom. Italian cuisine has become a staple here in American culture. I'd be very surprised to hear if there was someone in this class who hasn't tasted pasta, sauce, or pizza. Italian Americans faced many struggles in their home country and during their travels here in search of a better opportunity. Throughout it all, they've contributed key ingredients to the melting pot here in America. Italian families settled here with hopes of finding a better life, and America is a better country thanks to their influence.